Hello and welcome to the Life Changing Money Podcast. And this week's episode, you all are going to love. Now, I'm announcing it here first. I haven't even said it on social media, but we've added a member to our family. We got a dog. I'm so excited. I've never had a puppy as an adult. And yes, we are writing it off. And I'm going to tell you how you can write off your pets as well. So this week's episode is going to be all about pets, but I'm going to talk about it as if you all have a dog because that's what I just bought and I'm so excited. So yes, there are a few ways that you can write off your doggy in your business, and our tax strategy clients ask us every single year. So if you're just now listening to this podcast and you don't already follow us at Your Tax Coach, go to Instagram and follow Your Tax Coach. You can also follow my coaching page, which is my name, at Barbara Shreehans. And we're a tax strategy firm that saves business owners and real estate investors money and taxes. So we're here to literally make you less anxious about taxes. I've never seen a tax return that I couldn't save someone money on. And so I'm here to challenge you. Go to yourtaxcoach.com and schedule a call with me. And I will take a look at your tax returns for free and tell you what you could be saving in taxes. So let's dig into it. How can you write off your dog in your business? Well, let me first start by saying, any deduction that you take in your business, you need documentation for. And deducting your pet is no different. And if anything, you need even more documentation than normal because the IRS is going to question why you're writing off a dog in your business. But there are a few ways that are legitimate. And if you keep the documentation and have it all ahead of time, you can write off your doggy. So, in some businesses, you might need a guard dog. Now, does our online business need a guard dog? Maybe not, but maybe you do need one if you have an office in like a shady area, or sometimes some people have them in their home office. But again, you're going to want to be able to justify having a guard dog for your business. So you need to have a trained guard dog that is protecting the location of your business office. So if you're going to go the guard dog route, please make sure you actually put them in training and get them to be a certified guard dog. And probably like your Frenchie is not going to qualify as a guard dog. It's going to need to be a breed that could actually, pass the sniff test if the IRS were to come knocking. And when you do, you could also write off their food, their toys, their training, their medical expenses, all of that. So maybe your business needs a pet or an animal for pest control. So maybe in some people's businesses, like maybe you have a farm and so you buy a goat because goats are really great lawnmowers. And so you could write it off as like pest control or landscaping, something like that. A lot of times people will write off their cats, like a barn cat for a farm or a warehouse. Yes, a lot of warehouses have warehouse cats because they're eating the mice. It could be that you want to write off your pet for marketing or advertising reasons. A lot of people have social media accounts for their pets. And so it could be if you're making money off of your social media through your pets, or if it's for marketing and advertising, like say your dog is a recognizable brand ambassador or a mascot for your business. We do have some clients that have animals as their mascot in their business and can write it off that way. You can also have therapy animals. So let's say you have a therapy horse, or there's a lot of therapy dogs out there. We have some clients that are therapists, occupational therapists, like OTs, PTs, chiropractors, licensed marriage family therapists that all use therapy and emotional support animals in their business. And so if your business provides emotional support animals for their clients, like in therapy or counseling services, then you can write off the pet in your business and like all of their care costs as well. And I mentioned like content creators and influencers that maybe have their pets in their social media, brand collaborations, sponsorships. And so the costs associated with maintaining their work could also be a business deduction. Another way to write it off for those of you maybe that don't have a business or like you can't figure out a way to fit the doggy in your business. And I'll tell you how I'm writing my dog off as well in a minute. But another kind of avenue and route would be if you're fostering a pet, then typically when you're fostering a pet, it's through a charity organization like a 501c3. So if you foster animals through the 501c3, then expenses related to fostering the animal, like food, vet bills, pet supplies, like the bedding, toys, litter, transportation costs, even mileage associated with the foster animal, could be a charitable deduction. But again, charitable deductions are only going to work if you take the itemized deductions on your personal tax return. So you're going to need to have, this year if you're married, you're going to need to have over $30,000 in itemized deductions, which that does add up fast because you get to take some state and local taxes, your mortgage interest, all your charitable deductions and all that. So if that's over $30,000, then you would take the foster animal deductions through the charity on your itemized. Now, how we're deducting our animal is as a service animal. And so a service animal is specially trained that assists someone with a disability. And to qualify, again, just like the guard dog training, you would want them to be service animal trained. And there's a couple ways. There's emotional support animals, and then there's service dog training. You'd want them to get service animal training. So this could be guide dogs for like the visually impaired. This could be hearing dogs for the deaf. There are seizure alert dogs for people that have epilepsy. There's diabetic alert dogs for anyone that's diabetic. I've even thought about getting my dog like gluten trained. So it would like alert me if I'm about to eat some gluten, or like it would sniff my plate at a restaurant to see if it was contaminated. And then there's like mobility assistance animals as well. And so if your service animal qualifies, then you can deduct it as medical expenses. Now, remember, medical expenses are even harder to deduct on your personal return because not only do you have to exceed the itemized deductions, like I mentioned, the $30,000, so it has to exceed that, but with medical, you don't get to take $1 of medical expenses until you've exceeded 7.5% of your AGI for your medical expense. And that's like a lot of accounting jargon for, let's say you make $100,000 is your AGI, adjusted gross income. That would mean you need to have 7.5%, which is $7,500, in medical expenses to start taking medical expenses. So that means if you had $7,501 of medical expense, you could take a $1 deduction on your personal tax return, which is kind of crappy because not a lot of us have like really high medical expenses. But for our strategy clients, you guys know that you can have what's called a medical expense reimbursement plan in your business. There's also Section 105 medical expense plans in your business. And I could do a whole podcast episode about these medical expense reimbursement plans because there's a different way to set it up for every type of entity. So if you're a sole prop, it looks different than when you're an LLC, and it looks different than if you're a partnership, and it looks different if you're an S Corp owner, and it looks way different if you're a C Corp owner. So all these plans are very, very different per entity. It's very, very different based on your family ownership. So if you're married or not married, if you have kids or no kids. So there's like 50 different of these plans, and it all depends on those factors. But you can have these plans in your business is like the long and short of it. And when you have these plans in your business, the better way to take your medical expenses is not on your personal tax return. It's not on your itemized deductions. It's through this medical expense reimbursement plan because now every single dollar of your medical expenses can be a business expense. Every single dollar of your medical expenses can be ran through your business, to include supplements, wellness, chiropractic, acupuncture, massage, some facials, red light, sauna, cold plunge, like GLP-1s, anything, right? Including a service animal because it's medical. And so we got a letter from our therapist to be able to have an emotional support animal. And so you can ask, a therapist is a great one because they already know you personally. They know like your emotional state. They know how the dog could be helpful for you. A lot of chiropractors will easily write scripts for a therapy dog. You can go to your general practitioner, but like, this is just my opinion, but I really don't like general practitioner doctors. But maybe if you have a holistic doctor, a chiropractor, again, a therapist, but you need to have a letter of medical necessity is what it's called, an LMN, letter of medical necessity. And you need to have this letter before you get the dog. So if you're listening to this and you already have a pet, too late. But like the next time you get a pet, make sure you have this letter ahead of time because then the food, the toys, all the things you need like crates and beds and leashes and the training and everything can be a medical expense on your tax return. If you're listening to this and you're like, wow, this is amazing information, you have to go to writeoffyourlifecourse.com, writeoffyourlifecourse.com, and get on our next free masterclass. We're hosting a free masterclass in September on all things how to write off your life. And just the free masterclass in that hour is going to give you tens of thousands of dollars in deductions. And so definitely sign up for that masterclass there. And we go through hundreds of different deductions in the actual Write Off Your Life course to teach you these things. I'm also going to record another commercial here that we can snip in for later. I just don't know the website yet. So let me describe it. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I need this medical expense reimbursement plan, or I love hearing about pet deductions and I want to learn more, we're hosting a masterclass, a free masterclass in July called Tax-Free Family. And on the masterclass, I'm going to teach you exactly how to get the first $400,000 of your revenue in your business tax-free. The first $400,000 of your revenue in your business tax-free. The free masterclass alone saves you $75,000 in taxes. And yes, of course, it's going to launch my next course called Write Off Your First $400,000. And like, you have to be on the free masterclass. I'm giving you $75,000 of tax savings. It's so crazy. So, and yes, we're going to go over the medical expense reimbursement plans on that masterclass. So even if you don't have a pet, the medical expense reimbursement plan, the MERP, I'm going to call it a MERP because it's very long to say. The MERP alone can save you tens of thousands because we all have medical expenses, whether it's like traditional or not. You know, maybe you're not going to a regular doctor very much, but like if you're going to a massage therapist, if you're going to a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, some facials, like you're trying to reduce your stress, you're trying to get healthier, like your gym memberships could be a business deduction through the MERP. It's really, really cool. So definitely sign up for the masterclass called Tax-Free Family. You're going to want to go, in order to sign up, you have to go to Instagram, follow your tax coach, and comment family anywhere. If you comment family anywhere, it's going to send you the link to our tax-free family masterclass. And we do cap these to 2,000 people and we cap out. So definitely sign up as early as you can. You'll get the link. Yes, you'll get the replay, but you're going to want to be on live because we answer your questions live in the masterclass. So try to schedule out some time. It's going to be July 24th. Okay. So some other things that you might want to consider when deducting your pets on your taxes, you want to make sure that it's actually a business deduction and not a hobby, okay? Just like any other deduction, if you're going to write it through your business as an actual business expense, not through a MERP, an actual business expense, you want to make sure it's not a hobby. If your pet is used for business, like a guard dog for a home office, only the portion of expenses related to the business is deductible. So like if your dog also lives in your home as a personal pet, only a percentage of their food, vet care, and training can be deducted proportional to the time spent in the business. You know what I mean? So let's say 30% of your day, your dog is working in the business as a guard dog, you could only deduct 30% of its expenses because you're mixing personal and business together. So, service animals versus emotional support animals is very different. A service animal is like directly linked to a medical disability. Emotional support animals are like directly related to something more with mental health or like PTSD. So if you want to deduct it as an emotional support animal, it's a little harder. You want to make sure that if it's an ESA, emotional support animal, it's prescribed as part of a diagnosed mental health treatment plan and meets the IRS's criteria to be able to deduct it. A doctor's note is highly recommended, like I would say required for an ESA, okay? So that's why I got a letter of medical necessity from my therapist. For foster expenses, you have to remember to ask for the 501c3's EIN number because you have to prove later on that the foster was through a charitable organization. And you can't do that unless you have the 501c3 receipt with their EIN number on it. Travel expenses for pets for business. So if your pet has to travel with you for business, like show dogs or influencers or working animals, or even like emotional support animals, the airfare, hotels, and transportation could be deductible as well. But if you're like simply bringing your pet along for like companionship, that's not a deduction. But like if you need your ESA, your emotional support animal, to help you with anxiety when you're flying, that could qualify. And then again, remember, the IRS is so strict about personal versus business. So you need to track this stuff. You need to have your letters ahead of time. You need to keep your receipts. You need to keep really great documentation. Like if your animal is flying with you, make sure it's on your calendar. Why did your pet fly with you? If it did this training or that training, you need to write down what the training was for. Okay? Again, most personal pets are not deductible, but there are ways to deduct them through your business or through a medical expense reimbursement plan. And I am here to teach you how to write off more of your life so you can keep more of your business income and use that money to invest and build generational wealth. So again, I'm Barbara Streehands, founder of Your Tax Coach. Go to Instagram, follow us at Your Tax Coach, DM me and message me if you loved this podcast episode. I love hearing from you. And if you ever have any tax questions, feel free to ask. And if you want to schedule a call for me to look at your tax returns and see what a medical expense reimbursement plan would look like for you and your business, you can go to yourtaxcoach.com. But if you take nothing from this episode, you need to go to Your Tax Coach Instagram and comment family anywhere to get on our next free masterclass called Tax Free Family.